I heard noises coming from the kitchen and immediately thought someone had broken in. I grabbed my baseball bat and tiptoed down the stairs to catch the intruder red-handed. When I flipped on the lights, I was shocked by what I saw. Hiding on the ground, covered in white cheddar Cheeto dust, was my mom. She hissed and ran away, leaving me standing there, disgusted. I know it sounds crazy, but this wasn't the first time this had happened. It all started when my mom was out jogging one day. See, she had actually once been a bathing suit model, which makes this story even sadder. She had a bit of a sweet tooth, but kept herself on a strict diet to stay in shape. My dad was her manager and was very careful not to let her eat anything high in calories. Of course, my mom didn't always have self-control. She sometimes snuck snacks in the bathroom or ate cookies in the closet. But with my dad watching her, she never got out of control. That was until the day of one fateful jog. One day when I was in 8th grade, Mom went on her usual run around the block. But as she jogged past a cafe, she caught my dad with another woman. She was devastated. I was sitting at the kitchen table when she burst in crying. My dad was chasing after her. Right in front of me, he explained how he simply fell in love with another woman. It was nothing personal. You can't control what the heart wants, Dad said. Nothing personal? You jerk, my mom cried before she pushed him out of the door. It's nothing personal, but I never want to see you again. My mom immediately turned to the freezer and started stuffing her face with tubs of ice cream. She got a lot of comfort food. I'm talking about everything from chicken nuggets to tubs of popcorn. She spent almost $2,000 on food. She looked at me and winked. Don't worry, this is all going on your daddy's credit card. One day, after I had been bragging to my friends how I ate ice cream whenever I wanted, they insisted on coming to my house. When they came though, Mom started acting like we were all out of food. She said I should have asked her before bringing people over, and all we had was a bowl of boiled beans and broccoli. I was so embarrassed, and all my friends laughed at me. We hadn't bought broccoli for months. It must have been rotten. She served the beans and broccoli in a tiny bowl and left. My friends wouldn't touch the beans, so Mom popped back a while later and just grabbed the bowl off the table. You know what, honey? I think your friends aren't hungry, she said, practically running out of the kitchen. I was so mad. I ran after Mom and found her in her room, stuffing her face with a tray of nuggets and a whole tub of ice cream, with chocolate syrup too, half of which was on her shirt. She'd said we were all out. I started yelling at her, and then to my horror, I heard laughing. My friends were standing in the doorway, making fun of my mom. The next day at school, everyone went around asking each other if they wanted beans and broccoli. I wished the ground would open up and swallow me whole. After that, I stopped inviting people over. Over time, I noticed that I was starting to feel really unhealthy. I told my mom that I thought we needed to slow down a bit with our eating. If she kept it up, she was going to lose her job. She glared at me and said that I sounded just like my father and that being skinny didn't matter to her. I'm a model, she cried. If I got cheated on as a super hot model, what's the point of trying to be skinny? Her binge eating was only getting worse. After I'd seen her chow down on a whole bucket of fried chicken meant for a family of 10, I cried to her that I cared about her health. I didn't care if she was hot or pretty. I didn't want her to die of a heart attack. My mom agreed to slow down, at least to my face. After months of having junk food for dinner, we sat down and had a nice, healthy salad. The first bite felt like heaven, but I don't think Mom agreed. When I told her we were skipping dessert, I heard her stomach growl at me. She seemed annoyed, but she didn't push for anything more. I was really happy to see her making progress, but boy was my happiness short-lived. When I went to the kitchen the next morning, I screamed in horror. It looked like someone had destroyed our kitchen. Ripped up bags were tossed everywhere, empty bottles of juice and soda were rolling about, and even the fridge was still open. Who could have done this? My mom screamed. I rolled my eyes and pointed at her nightgown, which had pink frosting and chocolate smudges. She turned red and rushed out of the room. Later, she came to me like a guilty kid and said that she had a problem and she was willing to get the help she needed. For years, Mom tried all different types of therapies and medicines, but nothing seemed to work for long, and her setbacks always meant the worst kind of humiliation for me. This one time, when I was in the 9th grade, I went to the movies with her and my biggest crush happened to work there. Well, my mom made me get up 6 times to refill the family-sized popcorn tub during the movie. It was embarrassing enough to have to constantly get up and miss the movie to have my crush refill it, but the evening quickly went from bad to worse. See, after the 6th refill, the guy laughed and said, "Hey man, take it easy. You've got to leave some popcorn for the other guests." I was so embarrassed. I ran off without saying anything. I went back to my mom empty-handed. She charged out and made a huge scene. "Unlimited refills means unlimited refills," she screamed at him. When he explained that his boss had forbidden it, she knocked things over and left. After that day, I had a serious fight with my mom. I threatened to move to my aunt's. She felt very bad about the whole situation and didn't want to be left all alone. She begged me to stay and said she just didn't have any control. I warned her that if she wanted me to stay, I was about to get serious. I was in charge of what food went in and out of the house. We had snacks that I kept under lock and key. Even though it made me feel like a prison guard, it worked pretty well for a while. We lived a pretty normal life. My mom even got back to her old figure. Now I was back to having the boys in class staring at my mom. This one time, I even caught my crush looking at her with puppy dog eyes. I rolled my eyes. Still, it was better than her shoving Twinkies in her mouth all night. Anyways, things seemed great for the next few years until they suddenly went downhill again. If it hadn't been for Felix, that angel in a man's disguise, I would have lost it in high school. See, when I was in high school, one day my mom met this guy, Felix, and fell in love. Felix was super nice and was totally understanding about my mom's situation. He said he would do anything to help her. He was always there to keep a check on my mom and made sure there was no junk food in the house to tempt her. But despite everything, Mom was slowly slipping back. I began noticing she was putting on weight every day. Even though whenever I came home from school, I saw Felix had taken Mom for a jog. At first, it was small things. My mom was eating more than she needed to, but it was green, so that was okay, right? Then it got horrible. My mom destroyed our kitchen in the middle of the night again. She ate 6 bags of Cheetos. When she snapped out of her food rage, she looked shocked and embarrassed. She even felt a little sick from her snacking. Felix assured her that she didn't have to hide who she was for him, but she shouldn't have brought snacks home. Mom swore she hadn't. I was so mad, I didn't even argue. I wasn't just annoyed at how utterly irresponsible she was being, but also at how this was affecting me directly. On top of the fact that I never had any snacks in the house anymore, she made it impossible for me to have friends over late. One time, I tried to throw a slumber party in my living room with the few friends that I had. In fact, I even managed to invite Maya, who was super popular. We had a great time and everything was good until I woke up around 4 a.m. to Maya's screams. My mom had so little control, she had started eating the stale chips we'd left in bowls from our party. Then my mom had stepped on Maya while she was trying to reach for a chip under the couch. I was so embarrassed. I tried apologizing to her and she just laughed in my face. She said they'd heard rumors that my mom could smell food from miles away and that they had all wanted to check. Say goodbye to your social life, loser. With that, they all packed up and left. My mom eventually lost her job as a model and stopped working out completely. She was gaining weight so quickly. It was scary. She needed a whole new wardrobe. Poor Felix still stayed by her side, though. He could always calm her down and said he would love her no matter what. Then one day, something really terrible happened. It was so bad that I decided to move out. Even Felix said it was the best idea. I started to finally date a guy. His name was Josh. Well, on our anniversary, I decided to have him over for the best meal ever. I bought a whole bunch of expensive ingredients with my own money to make us a huge meal. I got seafood, fancy chocolates, and a lot of fancy cheeses. When I came home from school and went to cook her a meal, I discovered that it was all gone. I was screaming. My mom promised that she would make it up to me. You want to know what was left in the house for my boyfriend and I to eat on our big day? Cereal without any milk. I was crying. I didn't want him to think I just forgot. I explained everything to him and he was surprisingly pretty understanding. But it didn't change the fact that I was embarrassed and upset. I'd had just about enough. I had a serious talk with my mom. I told her I was moving out and I needed to know that she was going to be okay. My mom promised that she would try to be brave and strong. I had no choice but to believe her. Maybe it was a bit selfish, but I needed a break from being the adult of the house. I moved in with Josh and started enjoying the normal life. I started to feel so much more confident and happy now that I no longer had a crazy mom to worry about all the time. Until one day when Josh called me in to check out a YouTube video. He looked super embarrassed and just pointed at the screen. There was a video called "The Fatso Eating the World." Oh my God, is that my mom? I clicked on the channel and sure enough, there were hundreds of videos, all with mean titles that would break my mom's heart. The strange part was that the camera angles were weird. In one video, half the camera was covered. There was even a video from the night that my mom ate all the stuff for my anniversary. She made a fool of herself and was wearing dirty clothes. She wouldn't be caught dead going to the grocery store in pajamas, let alone having millions of strangers see her spill gravy all over her top. I clicked the video and saw it had over 4.3 million views. I checked the account and it turned out someone was taking commissions for eating special food. Now it all made sense. I jumped in my car and drove home. My mom was excited to see me, but her face changed the minute she saw how angry I was. "Where's Felix?" I shouted. "What's the matter with you?" Mom asked. "I want to talk to him, Mom." "That monster is trying to ruin your life," I said. Mom was confused. "Mom, he secretly records you every time you eat and uploads it on a channel he's made. He's making money off of you," I said. She looked absolutely furious now. "You don't live here anymore, so you have no right to barge in and tell me how to live my life. Felix is the only person who makes me feel good about myself. Get out." I could tell she wasn't ready to listen to anything I had to say right now. "Fine, Mom. I'm leaving. It's your life, right? Doesn't affect me at all." I thought I heard something from the kitchen and pretended to leave from the back door. Instead, I walked by. Felix was hunched over a laptop, frantically typing away on it. I was pretty sure he'd heard everything. "I know what you've been up to, Felix," I yelled at him. He smiled, shut his laptop, and said, "No, you don't. You have no proof." I checked my phone and tried to open the channel. It was gone. He must have deleted it. I stormed off. I had to think of a way to catch him. I couldn't let him get away with this. When I told Josh what had happened, he said he was sure there would be some evidence on Felix's laptop. Even if the channel was deactivated, the video files had to be somewhere. That night, Josh and I waited outside his house until we saw him leave, and then snuck in through a window. We decided to split and search different rooms for the laptop. I was looking all over the lounge when suddenly I heard a car turning into the driveway. Felix was back already. "Josh, we gotta get out of here." He was already running down the stairs 2 at a time, and we both frantically made it out of the window just before the front door clicked open. Quietly, we sneaked away as fast as we could. I felt so disappointed. I wanted to cry, but just then, Josh put his bag down and, with a huge grin, took something out of it. It was the laptop. Oh, I could just kiss him. And I did. We ran back home and Josh got down to work. He hacked into the laptop easily, the little genius. We were expecting to see all the disturbing videos of my mom. Let's just say we got much more than we bargained for. See, there were thousands of videos and pictures, but they weren't my mom. These were of 3 different women, all of them eating and stuffing themselves in what looked like mukbang videos. I wanted to gag. What was he doing? Where were my mom's pictures? And who were these women? We tried looking up the first woman. We drew a blank. The same for the second. We hit the jackpot for the third. There were videos of her on YouTube, but to our disappointment, they seemed to have no connection with Felix. We tried looking up her address, and that led us to a hospital room in the neighboring town. We hoped to at least get a few words with her, but the doctor told us she was in a coma. He was nice enough to leave us the contact information for her son, Sam. Sam was pretty reluctant to meet us and talk to us about what had happened with his mom. When he did, he eyed us suspiciously and said she had slipped into a coma 3 years ago and never woke up. It was all because of her eating, he cried. Doctors warned her that if she kept eating like this, she would be dead in a couple of years. This is all his fault. When we asked who he was, all he said was that his mom had had this horrible boyfriend, Gary, who made his mom eat so much that she ended up permanently in a hospital bed. Is this what Gary looks like? I showed him a picture of Felix. Yes, that's the jerk who ruined our lives, Sam cried out. We told him that we found videos of his mom on Felix's computer and even showed him some of them. He started to cry. I told him that my mom was his next victim. He said he was sorry, but he never wanted to have anything to do with that man again. Hearing what Sam had to tell us, Josh and I rushed home. We heard Mom yelling from practically a block away. I was terrified. What had Felix done to her? But what I saw took me entirely by surprise. Mom had Felix tied to a chair and was yelling at him. Next to Mom, he looked so tiny I wanted to laugh. Go, Mom! So, you found out? I asked her. Mom turned to me with flaming eyes. You knew? She screeched at me. I covered my ears. Before I could even get a word in, she continued, You knew he was cheating on me and didn't say anything? She demanded. Cheating? Really? I told my mom I didn't know about him cheating. But, well, I'm not surprised this crook is a two-timing loser, I told her. That was her turn to be surprised. She demanded to know what I meant, and I told her everything about the videos and the women and Sam. For a while, my mom was in shock. Then, she looked like she would eat Felix. The rest, as they say, is history. We had enough proof to send Felix to jail, and we sued him for every penny he had. My mom finally snapped out of her manic food obsession too. And even though she didn't go back to modeling, she started eating healthier. Josh and I? Well, yesterday, Josh asked me to marry him. Whack family or not, he said, I can't live without you.